Okay. Welcome to Black Books Matter, the podcast. We are your hosts, Derrick and Ramunda Young, co-founders of MahoganyBooks. This podcast is a love letter to Black bookstores and entrepreneurship. Here we celebrate the dreamers, the communities, and the culture that make Black bookstores such a special place for so many. But before we get into it and talk about today's guests, a bit of business.
Black Books Matter. The podcast is brought to you by our sponsor, Mahogany Books. Discover a world of literature featuring Black stories at MahoganyBooks.com. With the web's deepest collection of books written for, by, or about people of the African diaspora, you can enhance your reading experience with their curated collection of culturally enriching books. And by using our coupon code, Black Books Matter, you can support Black-owned businesses and promote representation in literature. Visit MahoganyBooks.com today and let your imagination take flight. So with all of that out of the way, let's talk about today's guests.
So we could not have started our inaugural episode of Black Books Matter, the podcast, with a better guest. Today, we have, to us, Mr. Paul Coates, a true legend in Black publishing, someone who has personally guided and inspired us on our journey in books. Again, Paul Coates is the founder and owner of Black Classic Press, one of the most respected independent Black publishers in the world. For decades, he has been committed to preserving, amplifying, and circulating the voices of Black thinkers, writers, and revolutionaries, often bringing back into print works that the mainstream overlooked or tried to forget. Beyond the books, Mr. Coates has been a mentor and an example to us, showing us what it means to do this work with integrity, vision, and love for our people. He is committed to Black ideas and Black community, and has not only shaped the publishing landscape, but has also laid the groundwork for businesses like ours to even exist. It's an honor to kick off the podcast with you, sir, and to talk to someone who has helped make history and helped us in our own journey in the legacy that we are building. Welcome to the podcast.
I like this part of the podcast.
Hey, right?
Let's stay right there.
Let's talk about all the great history.
Right,
Okay,
right.
all right. So,
But yes, thank you, Baba Coates, for all that you've done for so many of us.
Thank you, guys. And look, I just want to say this. The tributes, the good words are great. I'll take them if it means that I can be associated with you too. Okay?
Oh, my goodness.
Because I honestly, throughout the period of Black bookstores, throughout the period of Black publishing, there are all kinds of examples of successes and failures. You guys are a major success story. You know, you really are, and I know you know that because I know you know the history of, especially of Black bookstores. So what you're doing today, even the fact that we would be here doing this innovative podcast is different.
yes.
And it's your ability as a team, honestly, as a team, to be able to do things differently, to introduce things differently to the bookstore community, but to the larger community as well that serves as your success.
Yeah.
So I'm glad to be associated with you guys in any way. You can say I worked in the store sweeping the floor. I'm cool.
Thank you. You're going to make me cry my little lashes. I'm trying to stay focused. But thank you for saying that.
Well,
Thank you for saying that.
This is an awesome opportunity because it's been a very long time that we've been associating with you, learning from you, talking to you, and the ideas have gone both ways, right? So to kick off this podcast, and with this podcast is specifically about Black bookstores, the business of it, the people behind it that are doing it not for the riches but for the passion of it, because they want to leave an impact. When we're talking about our first guest, I was thinking, you would be one of the great ones because of the history,
The foundation.
that you bring to books, right? Like the number of bookstores you've worked with, the books that you've put into circulation, all those things work hand in hand.
Thank you.
So let's start there. So the first segment, the first kind of topic we want to deal with is what we call the prologue of the episode. Here, we're basically, it begins in this segment, we talk to our guests and have them share the opening pages of their journey, the spark that led them to build, create, and serve their community. So, with that, the first question that we have is, one, tell us about your business, when it was founded, why did you create it, and, what is your calling card for Black Classic Press?
What makes it different? Yeah.
Okay. So I'll have to come back on the calling card part so that I can be clear on that. But like the first part is, and I've shared the story on any number of times. I didn't come into business to be in business. I didn't know I was in business until probably 10 years after I was in business. I came into business as part of a movement, a prison movement, because I belonged to the Black Panther Party before selling books. And we had a number of people who were still in jail. Not only did we have people in jail, we had people who we were touching in the jails. We had families outside the jails who had come together and who we were also touching. Even after I left the Black Panther Party, I still had people in jail. And to be of service to those people in some kind of way, I created a plan for a bookstore, a plan for a publishing house that would publish books for that bookstore and other bookstores, and then a plan for a printing company, a book printing company, because that was the thing. That was the thing that could give us our independence, to have that full circle of, to be able to create information, be able to have it in the community, to be able to put that information in the jails with brothers and sisters, and literally remake them with that information. Literally remake them with that information and bring them back into the community as lights in our community, bright lights in our community. So our example for that, on the one hand, was clearly Malcolm X, who had gone into jail with a low mentality, a low community mentality, and came out just full of our community. Our example for that was George Jackson, who had just lost his life. Same path as Malcolm X, but there were so many others that had taken that path. They'd gone to jail, went into the jail, become executed. So we wanted to be a part, and I wanted to be a part of that. That's how we got started. It was a community program. We serviced people in the jails. We serviced people in the community. We did legal programs. All of that was supported by the work we were doing in the bookstore. At least it was supposed to be supported by the work. Bookstore wasn't that successful. So, and
depends
even
on how you measure success. Sounds like it was successful in some
well,
way.
it was successful in being a launch pad, but in terms of paying the rent, paying the people, paying our bills, no, it wasn't successful.
I hear you.
Yeah. Wealth is definitely defined in different ways.
A lot of different ways.
Yeah. But it gave me a lot of experience. It gave me insight. It gave me access to the books that I would eventually publish. By having the bookstore, many people came into the bookstore who had people in jail. And the people in jail were the ones that literally drove our publishing, because they asked for books that I knew nothing about. I knew very little about J. Rogers. I knew very little about Joseph Ben Jochanan. It was the brothers in jail who would send their parents in, send their brothers and sisters in, and ask for books by Dr. Ben. I'm saying, who is this guy? Why are so many people asking? And it was because of that I sought him out and I found his work. And literally by doing that, I found other works. And it was in finding those works that were out of print largely that I decided to publish in that vein.
So what year was this that you...
This would have been 1972. 1972. Yeah, so that's when we launched the bookstore. It was called the Black Book in Baltimore. It wasn't the first Black bookstore. It was actually the second Black bookstore in Baltimore. The first one went out, but it was certainly one of the earlier ones. It was not the first in this area. Drum and Spear was functioning, as you know. We were very close to the people at Drum and Spear. We were very close to the people, Mr. Mashaw in New York. We used to buy books from Mr. Mashaw, bring them back down and resell the books. He was an interesting brother because he had this large bookstore and you guys may know some of this, but he had a large book. He didn't want to sell his books.
Mm.
He would take, if you went to his bookstore and you went to the shelf and you said, well, can we do this one? He said, no, you can't do that one. You can buy this one, though.
Not that one. Wow.
Yeah.
I understand some of that when I see some of our books too, but
Yeah.
it's a hard decision sometimes.
Yeah. So what I liked about what you said was the business tip in that is the community told you your needs.
That's right.
The community said, we are looking for these books.
That's right.
These books are inaccessible to us.
Mm-hmm.
And then you
Yeah.
went out and figured out how to fill that need.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
a lot of times, I think as business owners, we drive ourselves crazy trying to come up with an idea instead of actually listening to the customers and having them tell us what it is that they want.
Fulfilling a need in the community. We have our own ideas. I want this space to be this and be that.
Yeah.
But the community may be telling us something different. So
In that sense, that was the easiest part. I mean, it really was the easiest part. They're the ones that guided me to the books. There weren't a lot of Black books available in 1972. You know, like we have an avalanche of books, landslides of books now. But in 1972, there were, for us, we were excited by them. They were just books that were coming out. However, again, like I say, the people in jail knew the older books. And by them knowing the older books and sending me to those older books, what I used to do, and I still do, when I open a book, I want to go to the bibliography. I want to go to the sources that the person's using. By going to those sources, I found other books, and I found there was a whole genre of books, particularly books that dealt with Black history that were usually self-published or published in limited amounts, and they didn't have wide circulation. In 1972 and before 1972, most publishers were not open to Black books. When you deal with people like J. Rogers, our historian, who was publishing started publishing in around 1917. From 1917 until he died in 1965, he couldn't find a publisher for his book. It was only after he died, literally in the 70s, that John Clark was able to go back and publish some of his books. Now his books are widely sold, but at that point, it didn't have the support. But people in jail knew about those books. That was the oral part of our tradition that carried these stories, and they wanted them, but they didn't have them.
So that kind of leads into the last question of this segment that I was thinking about was, so what is the thing that makes you different, Black Classic Press, from other publishers? Is it that you're able to find those lesser known books to bring back to the fore?
I think that it was a weakness at the time, but it really was what served and really is our strength today. We looked at the whole, it's called we looked at the whole thing at that time. We didn't look at just being booksellers. We were looking at changing our community, improving our community, transforming our community. I still see the world that way today. I'm not going back to bookstores because I don't anticipate opening a traditional bookstore. We are doing some bookselling, but not a traditional bookstore. But our community receives information. That information is just as vital to our community and our well-being as food is, as any other type of nourishment is. Who we are is important to our place in the world. We saw that, and I particularly saw it as, delivery systems as bookstores, delivery systems as publishing houses, delivery systems, and owning these things. Owning particularly that last piece, that printing part, was essential. That was about developing our community. That was about hiring people in our community, making sure people were at work, making sure young kids, when they came in, could see that full circle and understand it, and then apply it in other areas of our community. That still distinguishes us from most publishers in this country.
Yeah, like complete vertical integration from a production.
Yes,
Printing
the whole
to
thing.
publishing.
The whole thing.
Yeah.
So when did you know that entrepreneurship was the right choice for you? And also, how does your work align with your passions? And when I say entrepreneurship, you were doing a lot of different things. Like you said, you were in the Black Panther Party, but why, out of all the slices you could have chosen, why did entrepreneurship appeal to you, or did it not?
I would love to say that it appealed to me. It never appealed to me.
I was wondering.
I mean, look, when I went into the Black Panther Party, I already had one child. I would have two more. I would have four children before I left the Black Panther Party. Actually, I had four children before I left the Black Panther Party. No way to feed them. No way at all. My calling was for the community. But look, it wasn't entrepreneurship, right?
Mm-hmm.
It was a calling for our community. And it was like a commitment that still I feel in my heart today, that we have to stand up in our community. We have to do the work that frees up our community, that frees up the minds of our community. So I didn't think about entrepreneurship at the time. I thought, how can I get more books into the jails? How can I get more people to read? How can I get people to act on that reading? That was it for me. And like I said, it took about 10 years. And I don't know, I was working at Howard University and it occurred to me, well, you're in business, you got to pay taxes. Oh, you're a business.
That part,
you're
yes.
a business. But that came later, and it really hasn't fully settled in now. It really hasn't fully settled in now.
Sometimes I wonder if the way that we define entrepreneurship limits people's access to becoming business owners, because like you said, if you're doing it because of a passion you have, of a commitment you have to the community, and you see that there are needs out there and there's a way to fill that need, there is a way to create a business, a service, a product to do that will move you into entrepreneurship. But like you said, where you're starting at is, how do I serve my community? And sometimes we don't think that entrepreneurship is, at least for us, about getting into our community, uplifting our community, empowering our community, providing jobs for our community. Those are things that we can still accomplish very well through entrepreneurship, just through a community-focused lens.
I think you can. I think that's right. And I also think that in alignment with that, like moving our passions or being moved by our passion to a place that's considered entrepreneurship, it's like being alive and then putting on this coat that says entrepreneurship. I really do believe that living your passion can lead to the business you want.
Absolutely.
But it's not a matter of thinking about the business as much as it is about what you're passionate about, and studying and really being good at what it is you think your passion, what that passion is. I said think, but you'll find out what it is in it, because you'll figure out what you're spending your time with, what you're spending your money on, and that will tell you who you are, what you are, and what you're doing, what really, really moves you and drives you. Yeah. So I think it's all good. Entrepreneurship, the term and the being of it, I came to late. I still don't identify with it as much, but I recognize it. It's there. It's what it is. I don't think that's so different than many other people who have been successful. You look at people who have been successful, really successful, oftentimes they don't even have a business plan. They're doing what it is that drives them, and later they go back and put a business, or they hire people to construct a business plan around and extend what they're doing. Passion drives so much of this world, and we need to be aligned with it and remember it.
Yeah, and I love what you were saying about passion. It is about, if this is your gift zone, so to speak, having people around you that's their talents can align with yours, whether they're lawyers or accountants or all those people that have those expertise, or writers, whatever those are, aligning them with that, so you can stay congruent and authentic to who you are, versus trying to do all the things, be all the things. That's a luxury too, to be able to have all those type of people on the team. But I know many people who are entrepreneurs are doing all those different aspects, and the passion gets kind of pushed on the back burner sometimes because like you said earlier, there are taxes, there are different things that still have to occur. But I love what you were saying. The passion really drives it though, all day, every day.
Yeah.
All day, every day. So the next question I have for you, and this part of our podcast is kind of called Footnotes. And here we explore the texts that shaped them, the Black books that fed their spirit, sharpened their business sense, and guided them through challenges as entrepreneurs. And so I love hip hop, Baba Coast. And so a lot of people used to ask, when did I fall in love with hip hop? But I want to ask you, when did you fall in love with Black books? When was that?
When did I fall in love with Black books?
Black books.
I had an experience when I was in the military, and I had this is a short version of it. I had a Native American who was calling me nigga on a Saturday. I'm just going for my walk, and he's calling me nigga. And this is inside the barracks. He and I got to tussling, and this white boy jumped in and separated us. And they used to call this Native American cat, they used to call him Chief, which is, and he didn't get it, And so the white boy says, Chief, what's wrong with you? He's Black, I'm white, you're red. What are you doing? That guy separated us, and I learned a lesson about judging people in that. I went upstairs. I always loved books, but I went up Black books in particular. I went upstairs from that fight, waiting for these guys to come up, because I just knew that they had put this Native American guy up to start it, and they were going to jump me. And I went into what was called the day room, where you recreate and stuff like that. And there was a book there called Black Boy. And I had read Black books before, but it was Richard Wright's Black Boy that really caused me to understand, again, that there was this genre of Black books. There was this tradition of Black books. I read Richard Wright, and it was called, the book was Black Boy. I read Black Boy, and I decided I would read every Black book that I could find at the time, which I was telling you, it wasn't that many at the time. But I started on that path, and I knew after engagement with those books that I would continue with those Black books. And that's where I still am.
So was there I love that, number one, because I remember my mom gave me that book when I was maybe a ninth grader in high school. But was there a book that you read that influenced you as a business person? Like, or at least your philosophy about business or what you want to do?
Sure. Marcus Garvey has always been an influence, but even I think in a more contemporary way, the book that I always refer to people is a book by Johnny Johnson. It's called Succeeding in Business. I'm botching the title, but it's John Johnson's book on how he built Ebony and how he built Johnson Publishing, which is an appropriate book for a publisher to read. Absolutely. But it's appropriate for anyone to read. One of the things, and I'll just give you one of the lessons in that book. Now, that book was written, I think, mostly by Lerone Bennett, okay? Because you can feel Lerone Bennett. He's a co-writer on it, but you can feel his writing, the poetry of his writing as you read that book. It's a wonderful book. But one of the lessons that stands out in that book for me is John Johnson learned at a very early age to listen to the people who worked with him. And his philosophy, basically what he tells you in that book, is give people, if you think people are good, you give them what they need to continue their lives. So he would listen to his employees. If they were having a family problem with their kids, he's going to give them money to help them pay for those kids to go through school. He's going to do whatever he could do. And those people, by listening and dealing with their needs, he was able to build that company and build that company successfully and mold together a team that would move that. And I learned from that. And I thought it was so profound. And I listen to the people I work with.
But I love that so much. And I think for me, it just really goes back to our roots. It's about community. We are communal people. We look out for each other all day, every day. That to me is where we stem from in a lot of ways. But I think a lot of people, when they get into business, it separates. We turn into this dog eat dog world. Everybody for themselves,
About
and we
money.
lose that aspect
Yeah.
of community.
Yeah.
And like you said, community are the people who work with us. I don't even call them employees, I call them our team members. We're in this together.
That's right.
But we lose that, and I think because of where we are in this culture, in this community, we lose that. But I love that hearing you say that even now, decades into the business that you have, that that's still one of your calling cards, so to speak, that listening to your teams, their needs, and also identifying those and coming up with solutions or acting on those needs. It breeds loyalty, keeps retention, all those things that people, if you look at it from a business perspective, but also keeps community intact. So I just love that you said that. I want to just to make space for that.
Yeah. So we're running low on time, but I'm really curious. Is there an example you can give us that you actually applied that lesson to your business?
Yeah, I'll make it general so that I don't do it. I mean, look, we've had people. I'm one of the great guys that I work with. His mother lived in New York. And she had a stroke. She had kidney problems. She had to get a transplant or something like that. I can't remember the full. She had several medical compounds. But look, he had to go back and forth to New York basically like every other day. But this guy would work, and he's still with us, and he would work and work and work. One of the things I told him is what I believed. Your mother is first. You've got to take care of your mother, so go do that. He had as much time as he needed to take care of his mother. Eventually, he was able to move his mother to Baltimore, and he was able to move her down. But even in that, he was able to take her to the hospital whenever he needed to do it. And even if he called today, if he said, I got to take my mother, go. It's not about leave. It's not about that. It's really about what's important. And in his case, his mother was the most, his wife and family was important, but his mother was super, super important to him. That's the kind of listening that you could do. I didn't have a lot of money to give him, but I could give him time. I could let him maneuver his time around because he was going to work. He was going to work it, So I just needed to be able to do that.
And that's the thing that he needed the most.
That's what he needed the most.
Even beyond what you could put
that's
in his
what he
pocket.
Needed the most. He talks about it still today. Yeah. His mother talks about it today. His family talks about it today. Now, we don't need it in lights out in the street, but for him to have that in his heart, we've worked together for 30 years now. Yeah. For 30 years. And times have been hard at different times. It ain't made no difference. If he needed to, during COVID, he told everyone to stay away. He's the one that kept our printing operation going. He did every job that was there. Right. That's the kind of commitment that comes out of knowing people and giving them what they want.
Yeah. I mean, that's.
I want to drop the mic, but we're on the mic. But I just love that you said that. That's powerful, and it's another reminder for me, for us. But I love that.
Yeah. So, I mean, I think that's a perfect way to kind of begin to wrap up the show. And, that's the type of information, the insights, the tips that we want to be able to bring to this podcast for entrepreneurs, for business owners, people who are looking to turn their passion, their love for the community into a venture that can provide for their family, but also serve the people in the community that they love and adore. So with that, thank you, Baba Coates, for coming out and being our first guest on our inaugural show. We appreciate your insight, your information. We are going to find the full title of that book because we want
Succeeding in Business, I think it's called. I'm almost sure it's Succeeding in Business.
Okay.
By Johnny Johnson.
We'll definitely list that in the show notes. And we want to make sure
it's out of print right now, simply because Johnson Publishing is in the pit somewhere. They've managed. They sold Ebony, but the publishing company is out of business right now.
Right. So it might be something you can find at a used bookstore.
You can find it used. You can find it on Amazon. I buy them all the time and give them to people.
Okay.
Well, I just want to say thank you as well. As we started with the show, for being the person to us that you've been to us for decades now.
Thank you.
It means
Thank
a
you.
lot. I know you've called me down when I've called you after a call or an event and got your feedback and your thoughts.
Mhm.
And you always say, sis, you got this, do it. You used to tell me, do it, just execute, do it.
That's it. Yeah.
And those words ring true to me for me today. So I just want to say thank you just for being our friend,
Thank you.
but also just being the person that you are. It means a
Thank
lot
you.
to us.
Thank you,
Lots
sir.
to us.
And you guys mean a lot. I mean it. That
We know.
your application of doing it and then expanding on it. Thank you.
We appreciate it. Well, that's our show, guys. Thank you for joining us on Black Books Matter, the podcast. I'm Derrick Young.
I'm Ramunda Young.
We are the founders, co-owners of Mahogany Books. This show is on the Mahogany Books Podcast Network, and we look forward to bringing you more awesome interviews just like this one. Thank you, everybody.